Hello, friends. This is Timothy Kim O'Brien, your head instigator for Create Art Podcast, where I use my over 30 years of experience in the arts and education world to help you tame your inner critic and create more than you consume. We're continuing on with our Kickstart Creativity theme for 2023. And this week, we're going to be talking about how to use enumeration for your artistic practice. Let's get into it. Hey, thanks for coming back on with me here today. Trying a little new format here for you on the video side of the house, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we're going to be talking about enumeration today. And this is all based on this deck of cards that my wife gave me back in the holiday season of 2022. It's called Kickstart Creativity, and it's done by Bonnie Smith Whitehouse. Show notes will have all the links there for you. But what it is, it's 50 cards, and with the 50 cards, they're broken up into three things, three different. I guess you'd call them suits. You have your intention cards, you have your perspective cards, and what I'm working on now is the action cards. Action, baby. And what I've been doing is I've been taking one card a week and kind of been contemplating that card. As I said earlier, this week it's enumerating how we can unlock creative potential and embracing enumeration in your artistic practice. Wow, that's a lot of ease. So I've been using these cards. My wife gave them to me. I didn't know why she gave me the cards, but I decided that in 2023 I'm going to use these cards each and every week. Now, I'm recording this here in October of 2023, and in November, I'll be doing the National Novel Writing Month. So I won't be doing the cards throughout the month of November because I'm going to be busy writing a 50,000 word novel. Why am I telling you this now? Because, well, I'll be coming in about once a week and filling you in on where I'm at in the novel, but I won't be doing the cards during those weeks. I did the same thing back in April, which is National Poetry Writing Month, and so I'm gonna, I just want to warn you ahead of time. You may not see me well, you will see me, but we won't be talking about the cards in November. So with the cards, they have different areas on them, and so the quote unquote back of the card, which you can see right there. Um, is has what I call the kernel of knowledge. It breaks it down into one, maybe two sentences, and to let you know what the whole card is about. So this part of the show, we're going to be calling the kernel of enumerate. And it says on there, making a list swiftly organizes priorities, assembles curiosities, and even tells a story. And I know in my practice, especially during the poetry writing month, there's these lists. You can make a list into a poem. My nephew, he runs a poetry reading here in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and he's like, you bring us your poetry. If you read somebody else's poetry, that's okay. Just credit them. You can even read us your grocery list. So I've done that. I've taken it. I've taken the challenge. He has thrown the gauntlet, and I have done it. I've done poems where I'll list my grocery list, and that's my story. For that poem. So when we organize ourselves, when we organize our priorities, and kind of lay all these things out, it can help our artistic practice. And it can be you're searching for something to do, something, you're searching for inspiration. It's right there in front of you. So give it a shot. What's it going to hurt you to do that? I don't think it's going to hurt you at all. So the next part of the card is it's a small paragraph. It's about 3 or 4 sentences. And with this one, I'm not wearing my glasses, so I might read it a little bit slowly, so forgive me if I do. Assemble a series of items, ideas, or actions. Cluster and organize them in some sort of meaningful manner. Lists can be recollections, just like the catalog of ships in Homer's Iliad, or revelatory, like Joan Didison's personal packing list in The White Album. Composing a list releases fragments from the mind and puts them in order. Now, I do have links in the show notes. For those of you that are just listening to the audio podcast version of this, links are in the show notes. And then links are in the comments, not the comments, in the notes of for the YouTube portion of this. So, what do I think about that? I like it. I like lists. And I think that when we put that stuff together, let me put it this way. So when I go to a poetry reading, I like to have it all set up in a list of the stuff that I'm going to read. That's just something that, that's just a thing for me that I have. I don't like flipping through stuff. Or I will, on occasion, rarely, just go, you guys pick it out. I'm going to flip through it. You tell me when to stop. So I do that on occasion because I'm that confident that I can read any of my poems at any time. And that's a fun little parlor trick. Some people have followed me doing that. I've seen it happen, and I just like to come prepared. Just like I like coming prepared to you guys every week with the podcast. So I think when we organize ourselves, and organize is a thing that a lot of artists, or some artists, the misconception of artists that we're all over the place, when the fact is not all of us are. Some of us are scatterbrained like that, and that's okay. But I like to have some semblance of an order, so that way I can find things easier. If you're watching this on the YouTubes, you look back at my bookshelf there, it is set up in an order. So that way I can go grab stuff. If I want to go grab some poetry, if I want to go grab, fiction, if I want to go grab my, uh, Paris reviews or my poetry magazines, they're all in order. They're all right there, and actually on the top shelf. Same thing with my record collection. I got all my John Coltrane's in one area. I got all my Miles Davises, got all my Chet Bakers, and all that stuff. I have it all listed out like that because, sometimes I'm in a jazz mood. Sometimes I'm in a rock mood. Sometimes I have no idea what this is, but we'll give it a shot mood. So that can help us. That can really help us focus our mind and do what we're, wanting to do, doing what we're needing to do. Now, you know me, I like definitions. So let's go to Cambridge Dictionary. Come with me to Cambridge Dictionary. And to name things separately, one by one. Okay. Thank you, Cambridge Dictionary. Not a huge thing to go on there, but I think the gist of it is that if we put it all in order, we put our inspirations in order, or we put the work that we've done in some sort of order, then just the act of putting it in that order can help us with another project, or it can make it easier for us to go to that source material and go, oh, okay, that's what I was looking for. I'm in a XYZ mood. So I'm going to go to, this, uh, I'm in an X mood. So I'm going to go to my source material or my inspirational material and go, hey, I'm in an X mood, and I can find that a lot easier. Sometimes that source material is going out into nature. So, I know, where the local state parks are. So if I want to go walking in a state park, or if I want to go downtown, I know where all the coffee shops are at downtown. Or if I want to just, be around a mass of people, but not involve myself with them, I know where the mall is. I can go there. And I know, probably the good times to go and the bad times to go. It's Sunday when I'm recording this, so it's probably not a great time to go if I want some solitude. But you never know. Maybe I need that, frenetic action. So I know where to go. Now, in each of these cards, there is a challenge. So the first challenge, there's three challenges. The first challenge is follow the trail of your imagination, making an ingenious list, such as objects that deserve further attention or the bravest acts I've ever seen. So when you're making a list, and naming it like that, then you know what you're going out and looking for. You know, or maybe you're taking pictures of things and you're like, I need to take I need to look at that picture a little bit more, or I need to work on this picture a little bit more, fine tune it here, fine tune it there. So you're never at a loss for things to work on. The bravest acts I've ever seen. That's a great, writing prompt right there for, poets, novelists, short storyists, what have you. Um, the bravest acts I've ever seen. Wow, there's so many. One of the bravest acts I've ever seen is when my daughter was born and she was in the NICU, and she grabbed my pinky, and she somehow let me know. And this is where I'm going to go a little bit woo woo here on you, but she somehow let me know that she was going to be okay, and that helped me, and that's a brave act for me. That she did. The next challenge is list out the characteristics of a problem you'd like to solve. So maybe you're working on a piece and you're running into issues with it. Well, list out what those issues are and then tackle them one at a time. Tackle the easy stuff first, or tackle the hardest stuff first, however you like to go about that. But if you are running into an issue with one of the creations that you have, what is that issue? What is it really? Let's list it out and find out what's blocking you, and then let's attack that and let's make that no longer an issue. The last challenge is make a strategic list of everything you'd like to see in your next work or personal project. So, as I already told you, next month in November of 2023, I'll be working on a novel. So I've already set it up in my National Novel Writing Month app. I've got that set up. I've already got um, a document set up where I can do notes of things. And then I've got it set up, another document set up where that's where I just do the writing. I can refer to the notes anytime, but I just do the writing in that area. And then on my website, I already have a template set out, for each week of, kind of what I'm going to talk about, how many words I got, what's the feeling of it, maybe read a couple of excerpts from it, and we'll be good to go. So I think I have November set up in a nice way. Another personal project that I'm doing is, and you can't, if you're watching me on YouTube, you can't see it you can't see it on the screen here, but I am going to be doing transferring all of my old poetry that's handwritten, which, who knows, what's going to happen to it if there's a flood here or anything like that, but transitioning it from handwritten to digital. So that's another project I'm working on. I'm also working on a diamond painting. for my wife of the Eiffel Tower, and another painting that I'm probably going to start working on today, an actual painting, and that is going to be of Jack Skellington for Halloween for my wife. So I know you guys are like, wait a minute, doesn't your wife listen to this? On occasion, she does, and she may see this or she may hear this, but um, you don't have to tell her. I'm not going to tell her until it's done. So there you go. But these are just things that you can do to get yourself organized for the next project that you're going to work on. And then, if there comes an issue with any of these projects that I'm working on that I'm like, man, I'm running into a wall here, then I know, let's break it out and see what that issue is going to be. So that's the challenges. And then, little thing I like to add in here is points to consider. The first point is deconstructing your inspiration. And some people may be like, "What do you mean deconstructing my inspiration?" Well, when you're going to the material that is going to inspire you to write or dance or cook or paint or whatever your practice is, um, let's deconstruct that. Let's see why that happens. And some people are going to be like, but it just happens, it's mystical. No, what sets the mood off for you? What do you need to have? And some people go, well, I need to smoke a little herb, or have a drink of wine or something like that. I'm gonna go, really? Do you need that? Because I used to think that too. I was like, well, I have to be in a bad mood, or I have to break up with my girlfriend so that way I can write, or what have you. Let's deconstruct that inspiration and break it into parts and find out what needs to happen, what really needs to happen. Because I bet you can find alternatives that are healthier for you, healthier for your mind, and healthier for your body, that can get you to the same point. Another point is expanding your creative vocabulary, and that's what I'm doing with the Kickstart Creativity. Is that I'm trying to help you develop and expand your vocabulary, because people are going to be throwing these things at you, and I would say sometimes they don't know what they're talking about. So, and that's why I've always been the person that goes, "Hey, can you explain it to me like I'm a fourth grader? Come on." If you can't explain it to me, the basic stuff that way, you may not really understand it. When we, you look at Enumerate, it can enhance your problem-solving skills. So that's when we're taking that problem, using quote marks around the word problem, and we are really identifying the issue, identifying the problem, and then continue. And then, once we identify what the problem is and steps to overcome the problem or go around the problem, then boom, there is no problem. These are not the droids you were looking for. It fosters creativity and constraints. That's one of the reasons I really love uh, National Poetry Writing Month, is they'll come up with a certain style, a prompt, and you can or you don't have to, but I always try my hardest to go with the constraints of the prompt, and creative ways to get around it. We've satisfied the prompt, but I've thrown my personal flair into it, um, or I've made it my own. So that's always. I love to be. I don't want to say I love to be tied down like that. That's a whole other thing that we don't need to go into here. But I like to have the constraints on me, because then how do I break free of them, or how do I use the constraints against the constraint, and see how I can wiggle my way around in that. And then lastly, it helps create series and themes. I would love to, when I go through all of my old poetry, I'm going to go through all those ones that talk about, the dark haired barista that I've been, you know, trying to find for decades, which I don't care about anymore because I have a wonderful wife and a beautiful family. So I don't need to chase that person anymore. And I'm finding that, I'm a happier person for not having to chase that person. So, um, but I would like to, see the evolution of that. It, I don't know if anyone else wants to see the evolution of it, but heck, I'm interested in it. Or, creating series, when I'm talking about, bringing down the government or, damn the man. Um, I want to see the different themes in my work. And I want to be able to, show people, hey, this was my blue period. This is my, self-destructive period. This is the period where I got my shit together and wrote some pretty amazing stuff. Go figure. So that can help you really define who you are as an artist if you can find those themes in your work and and create series in it, and then you can repackage your work and do a series of this and do a series of that and what have you. So give it a shot for yourself. Okay, well, I am so happy and so glad that you decided to spend some of your time here with me. Really appreciate it. If you'd like to reach out to me and talk further on this topic or any topic that deals with art, please feel free to email me at timothy@createartpodcast.com. I want to hear about your journey and what you're working on. And if you'd like to be on the show and be interviewed on the show, I do interviews. Write in and let me know about it. If you would like to share this podcast, because I think the best way to find podcasts is to share them. Then definitely you have the tools in your hand. Literally, if you're on YouTube, you can share the YouTube video. If you're listening audio as a podcast, most of your podcast apps have share buttons. If you're on the website, listening to this, you can share it that way. Doesn't matter how you share it. Be happy if you did. Would love it if you would. I also do a newsletter, and it's called Creatively Create Art Podcast Newsletter, and you can find that on the website. I have a little box that you could subscribe to, or you can go to timothybryan.substack.com, and Timothy Bryan is spelled TIMOTHYBRIEN, and then substack.com. I'm not going to sing that part for you, but I do a monthly newsletter that gives you ideas for stuff to do in the month, and let you know what I've been up to. And sometimes, I'll go on a little bit of a rant there. So it's only once a month. Don't want to jam pack your email inbox, but if you would like that, I offer it to you. Speaking about sharing things, I also run another podcast. I know, crazy, right? And it's called Find a Podcast About. And you can find that at findapodcastabout.xyz. And that's where I help you outsmart the algorithm and find your next binge-worthy podcast. And sometimes I even talk to the podcast hosts. I'm trying to find podcasts that I really enjoy, and I want to share it with you and make sure that you know about those podcasts. So definitely give that a shot. Now, if you found value in this podcast, um, again, share it with a friend. That's awesome. I appreciate that. But I want to know, uh, if this was a 5-star podcast for you. You can rate me on your app of choice, or what have you. You can give me the big thumbs up over at YouTube. That's great. I appreciate that. You can write a review on those apps as well. And I do read those reviews, and I will be reading them out on the show. But I want to know if this isn't a 5-star podcast for you. I want to know what's going to make it a 5-star podcast. So feel free to email me on that. Be happy to discuss that with you. I'm not going to be, crazy with you on that. But in your eyes, I want to know what's going to make this a 5-star podcast. Is it too long? Is it too short? Is it too much of me talking? Although, I'm the host of it, but it may be too much of me talking. You may want to see more interviews. You may want to do more projects or something along those lines, or you may want to see more of my art. So let me know what's going to make it a 5-star podcast for you. I really appreciate you taking the time out for that. I really do. All right. Well, it is time for me to do something with my voice because I'm starting to lose it. It's been strep throat week here in the Bryan household. So, yeah, hopefully next week will be much better. But anyhow, I hope you can go ahead and tame that inner critic, create more than you consume, and go out there and make some art for somebody you love, yourself. I'll talk with you next time.